Every moment, the noise crushes in like a wave. The endless chatter, the blur of notifications, the bombardment of thoughts racing faster than anyone can catch. They don't just distract, they suffocate. Founder, leader, investor, professional. There's no escaping it. The constant pressure to perform, to outthink, outmaneuver, outlast. The weight of decisions that feel like the fate of the world, the clock ticking louder with every breath. The fractured mind trying to juggle 10 fires burning at once. It's exhausting, it's maddening, and deep down, it's lonely. Ever feel like the louder the noise gets, the farther away clarity slips through your fingers? That in all the chaos, the one thing that should be steady, the mind itself, is the most unreliable? Because it's never quiet. Ever. Even in moments meant for rest, that restless pull claws you back to stress, to doubt, to the fear you're falling behind. And yet, what if the real edge, the hidden weapon, the secret advantage hidden below all this chaos, isn't in doing more, faster, harder, but in doing less? Mental silence, that almost unimaginable stillness inside, could be what changes everything. The world doesn't tell you that. The hustle harder gospel buries that truth beneath relentless noise, pumping adrenaline as if that will save you. But it won't. Because no empire, no startup, no vision ever survived on chaos long term. What survives, what thrives, what transcends the brutal grind is the mind that learns to switch off the static and tune in to what actually matters. Not the noise, not the distraction, but the core, the unshakable. Imagine for a moment if you could call a halt to the relentless storm inside. If, instead of your mind screaming every second, with lists, with fears, with demands for action, you could access a place of complete stillness, not a numb void, a place pulsing with presence, where every thought is a choice, every worry a visitor, gently acknowledged but not allowed in. This is not meditation fluff. This is hardcore mental discipline, the kind the greatest founders, the sharpest investors, the most effective leaders guard like a fortress. Because it's there you find your true power. Silence sharpens perspective. Silence ignites creativity. Silence births clarity. The greatest breakthroughs don't come in frenzy. They come from that moment when noise falls away and pure insight floods in. When the mind is a calm lake, not a wild storm. Think about the times inspiration hit you out of nowhere, on a walk, in the shower, in that rare quiet second before sleep. That was silence whispering. But here's the problem. Silence is terrifying, isn't it? In our addiction to constant input, silence feels like emptiness, a void where doubt and fear crowd in. What if that quiet reveals that deep down, we don't have all the answers? What if it exposes fragility? What if, instead of growth, silence becomes confrontation with all the stories we tell ourselves about who we are, what success means, what must be done? This fear of silence is the battlefield. This is where the real challenge lives. So how to win? How to turn silence from enemy into ally? The first brutal truth: the silence is there already. It's not something to chase, buy, or escape into. The silence is always present beneath the noise. The problem is learning how to access it and to wield it. This is not about zoning out or escaping life. It's about becoming so damn present, so fiercely in control of what enters your mind, that you command your own mental space. Every founder knows that control is an illusion a lot of the time, but mastering mental silence puts you closer to it than any strategy, any pitch deck, any flashy move. Start by embracing the unbearable tension of stillness, the kind that feels like standing on the edge of a cliff in your brain. Don't run from it. Don't drown it in endless news feeds or meetings or planning. Sit with it. Face it down. That nervous energy, that restless stream of thoughts, is begging for a leader inside you to take charge. The silence will not come wrapped in comfort. It's raw, it's sharp, it's demanding. But once it arrives, it is the most powerful ally you will ever know. Now, when the mind is silent, what marries in that space is not emptiness, but clarity. A filmmaker didn't invent the cutscene for nothing. It's in the pauses, the quiet spaces between the action, where tension and meaning gain power. Ditto the mind. When it stops, even briefly, clutter falls away, and the real work begins. Clear, focused, intentional, ruthless work. You start to see through the fog. Which meetings literally move the needle? Which ideas deserve your energy, and which are just noise? Which relationships fuel your fire, and which drain it? That clarity, it's a game changer. But silence doesn't just give clarity, it sparks innovation. When the mind is still, connections that never existed before become visible. You begin to combine ideas not by force or strain, but through deep insight, realizing solutions you never thought possible. The silence creates a fertile ground for originality to grow. This is where genius comes alive, not by grinding endlessly, but by holding space for the unknown to reveal itself. Here's the catch. Silence is a muscle. It needs training. Your brain has been wired for noise, for distraction, for reaction. Changing that wiring is one of the hardest fights you'll ever face. But you're a leader, a founder, an investor. You thrive on challenges others run from. Start with tiny pockets of silence in your day. Not once a week, not when it's convenient. Right now, right here, small seconds of turning off everything that's not you. No phone, no background noise, just you and your breath. It's painful at first, your mind screams to break out. But every time you win, those seconds grow into minutes, and those minutes become the secret weapon no competitor sees coming. Add to that the practice of ruthless focus. Mental silence is not daydreaming, it's active sharpening, an alert stillness that says, I choose. Choose to be present in this call, in this decision, in this moment. Throw away multitasking. Cut communication to what's necessary and valuable. Protect your mind like it's the last fortress, because in truth it is. The moment you lose control of your mental space, you become a hostage to the noise and chaos everyone else accepts. That's not leadership, that's survival. Remember this: the world screams freedom, but chains your mind with rules, distractions, anxiety. Those old systems want to keep you running in circles, stuck in reaction mode, convinced that speed and volume equals success. But true freedom is mental silence. Freedom from the hamster wheel of endless thinking, from the illusion that your mind must always be on. The rare ones break free. They stop feeding the noise. They start owning their inner world. And when that happens, they don't just compete, they dominate. And finally, mental silence connects. Yes, silence in a world obsessed with noise might seem isolating, but in reality, it builds the strongest bridge between the individual and true community. When the mind is silent, ego fades, judgment softens, and real listening begins. That's when the greatest partnerships form. When you discover the few who are not noise but essence, you become part of something rare and powerful, something bigger than yourself but built only from shared fire. That's the rebellion against mediocrity and system noise, the network of the few who dare be mentally sovereign. So if right now your mind is screaming, and your heart is racing, and you feel the crushing weight of all the endless push, take this as a call. This is the edge. The silence you fear is the very place you find your fiercest strength. This is where chains break. This is where clarity rules. This is where the future is born. Not from noise, but from peace. Mental silence isn't just a break from noise. It's the sword and shield of the exceptional. The ones who refuse to be defined by chaos, but instead redefine what is possible. Hold it. Own it. Become it. Because in the silence, everything changes. The noise fades. The fire awakens. And you rise, not just to meet the future, but to create it on your own terms.